What do you got for me?
Well, you look at what lies ahead this week back at home, had success in this building. Obviously, it's a point where, the team needs some good things to happen for them. So what kind of things do you tell them this week going into Notre Dame?
Well, the biggest thing, is the sky's not falling. I know it will be with a handful of people, but it can't be. But it was a bad October for us. We can't hide from it. We have to build on the things that we like that we've seen, and we've got to improve a handful of things. Just example, we go to North Dakota, we don't give up a goal to penalty kill, and we're 2-2 in the second. We win the next night 5-1. The last two series, we've given up 14 goals, 7 on the penalty kill, and you can't overcome that. And so one, penalties, and two, and we have got to get back to work on little things. Penalty killing, we can become a better penalty killing team. All right, and you showed it one weekend in a hostile environment. The next two, it doesn't go so well for us. And there's just a few areas in that. Our defense are coming. We're breaking pucks out better. It's little things got to keep coming together until we cross. We're not going to stay where we're at. We are going to get better. We are going to improve. God, I wish it could be quicker.
Well, another thing is hardly take any penalties the last couple of years. No. Is this a different group that's got to learn to play tough but not cross that line? Is that something?
Well, we took 5 the other night. We took 7. You called for 7 up in North Dakota. I mean, we're chasing the game a little bit, and we've taken some bad penalties in this little stretch.
So is that
we got to do more? Stop doing it
with them, because you're so good at it before of playing right to the edge without taking penalties.
Exactly.
And being physical but not crossing that line. Is that point of emphasis
always for us? Take it to the edge, don't go over. And we've taken in some uncharacteristic bad penalties, and we haven't survived it. So that's one area that's being addressed. And our teams have shown that over time, and we'll get back to it.
When the penalty kill had success, what did you see that can be replicated, that can be,
four of the 7 goals, we had the puck and didn't clear it. On our tape, plays were there to be made. So, we've broken out some small areas of where your penalty killing's got to get better. But when we had time to clear it on four times, where they scored seconds after you don't make the clear. But once again, we don't want over, one element of, but you think of that, in 4 games we gave up 7. That means we have to score 14 to overcome it. We're not at that point. So we have to be better there. It's one example. The other one's our forecheck. We have, we had a real hard time breaking pucks out early, in October with the young decor, some of our young players. So we would work so hard to get to the red line, and we'd dump and have to change. All of a sudden, 10 minutes go by, and, we have 2 shots on goal. It's coming. We got some D that are, I can't help the fact that, we didn't want to be a young team this year, like we ended up being, but it did. But there's going to be a day we're not young.
Is managing a shift a big part of a young player's development, like figuring out how to end a shift with some momentum or limit mistakes, be on the right side of pucks?
Yeah, how we want to play in your shift is more as how, we're probably saying the same thing. Is we've had too many one and done swings in the offensive zone, and then your dauber gets down. You're young. I mean, and this is supposed to be easier, Coach. No, it's not easier. But
I feel like we've talked at times it's okay to go out and tie a shift and then pass it to the next guy. And
you have to. You have to be able to do that, and then put pressure on the other team and let them feel that you're there, and eventually the game loosens up. You gain some confidence through it.
of the guys that you need to see some growth from and, get used to this level, who are you seeing, where are some signs where you're seeing guys that are, making strides in the first one?
Well, I first turned to Luke Middlestat has been superb. It's scary how good he's been for us. And so I kind of have to answer that from that standpoint. It is, and freshmen and I'll even take our sophomore class has to take a step. Last year as freshmen, we didn't have to put any of them in the first choir chair, as I'll say. They could sit behind a slew of players that were leading the charge, and all of a sudden they come back this year and they're seated in the front row. And it's a different view. And they're so capable of being better than they've been. And am I calling them out right now in a question? They know it. And has it been every game? No, but on a consistent basis, just using that class, freshmen will come, and we like our freshmen have been playing very well for us. We think the two young D are improving; they've really improved through that. But I'll say a couple of our upperclassmen in our sophomore class who are sitting in much higher seats than they've sat here in the past. That's a big adjustment.
Outside, you say some are saying the sky is falling. How do you keep these players that are learning this and keep them positive about what they have to do?
Well, we have to draw on them as athletes and go back to work on Monday and put our effort in during the week. Keep believing. We're having we're not going to over meeting, but we've had enough. Film sessions and conversations with our team and with the leaders of our team that let's all, I've said it, we have to own where we're at. And it's interesting too, like we said the other day, that what comes with this program is the criticism that comes now, we'll take it. But it's the same program when we go to Tampa Bay, has 11,000 people there. So we're going to have a loud crowd both ways. And that's special. And our crowds have been great. So they're not happy. They should be. I'm not. My wife locked me out of the house. I get it. I'm trying to get back in. And I had to remind a few of our guys, this is the same crowd that shows up for us when we've been going. And we've been going here for a while. So they're ticked off, from what I hear. So is Coach.
I was going to say, this is uncharted territory for you. I mean, in 8 years here, you have had that swept in back-to-back weekends. How are you doing?
Actually, to be honest with you, you're right. And I've been reminded of that. One of my good buddies called and says, "Good, this hasn't happened to you. Glad you're going through. You're living like the rest of us." So you love your best friends.
Another coach, Axel?
Oh yes, I can tell you right where he lives too. 218 area code.
Yeah, I was gonna guess. Like the mid-year.
When you win, when you don't change when you win. Run around having a little. And if you lose, you look at the film. What's going on? How we change this thing? It's the same thing, and I'm it's not fun. I'm more looking at the eyes of our guys, because they wanted to start the season, so they wanted a better start. Well, let's get November going. That's all we're doing right now.
As you get in November, are you seeing more progress in scoring or eliminating mistakes?
The way we play. We've got good players that are going to find ways to score. The last thing I'm worried about is offense. That's going to come. The way we play, the way we approach, we have been off on our one night a week. We've been off on our battle level. Saturday we played. It was an unfortunate game. The first puck bounced right to the wrong guy, we take a bad penalty when we're 1-0 and we're down 2-0, and then we kick the puck to their guy in a breakaway, and all this, and we had opportunities to get back in. One night a week we have had we've had a performance and effort that is not acceptable. They bounce back, so it's like it's there. And we're also, let's face it, and people will think that I'm making excuses. I'm not. We got 4 injuries right now that are really hurting us, and we played a tough schedule. We're not afraid to play a tough schedule here, and it beat us up.
It sounds like on your radio show, those guys are probably another week away from coming back, and Cal's maybe 50-50, depending on how things go tomorrow.
Yeah, 50-50 on Cal and Tanner Sherwood. Let's hope. We could have 3 guys back next week. We're hoping 1 this week, and really looks like we're going to get 3 back next week.
Any timeline on Townsend yet?
Next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
Great.
First new coach at Notre Dame, obviously was with an assistant. What do you see from them?
Dick, you guys wanted to move this to Tuesday. We're digging into it, but the little we have, with Danny Nelson and Knuble, and they've got some older guys and a couple transfers in there, so they've got some older guys in their roster. They played Michigan very strong last weekend. No matter what, when you get a new coach, especially in the teams you coach in the league, it takes sometimes a year or 2 to figure it out. And then, when I got into this league, it took a while to figure out some of the programs, and it's going to take that. And that's a monster change with Jeff Jackson leaving, and then Andy Slaggert, who had been there over 30 years. Those two had their fingerprints over a lot of success in that program. And, it's a great school and a great program, and this new staff will find their way.
Cool. Thanks, Bob.
Right.
Thank you, Bob. Your coach talked a little bit about, especially the sophomore class and the defenders, kind of moving up a notch this year, and just the adjustments that you've had to go through in this start in October. What's that been like from your perspective? Now that you're up and the expectations are higher.
Yeah, every time there's higher expectations there, and you can appreciate that for what it's worth. I think we got to actually answer the bell and make sure we're doing a good job of pushing the envelope every day, especially in practice here. So it's been good. It's a privilege to have high expectations.
Yep. From Hill Marie to Fargo to your road here, there haven't been a lot of months like the one you just got through. I mean, do you have to remind yourself to keep it fun, or are guys keeping it light, or kind of what's the attitude right now?
Yeah, we're not taking it lightly in any sense, but at the same second, I think we are. We understand that we are a little bit of a younger team going through a hard schedule, but that's really not an excuse for us at all. We we've done a good job this week looking in the mirror and tweaking things, and like you're saying, it's definitely nothing that I have been used to, or really anyone on our team, and I guess that's a good thing. But we want to make sure that we don't get used to it.
Do you remember any experiences like with a youth team or something and going through struggles where, the start of the season doesn't go as much as you hoped it, trying to fight through that and learn from it?
Yeah, of course. I remember we won the state championship as a Pee-wees. We got second place my first year, won it my second year, and then I was first year Bantam, and our goalie quit. Hey, we didn't have a goalie, so I remember we lost the first 15 games of the year. Literally 0-15. Might be a record in there somewhere. But I do remember that, and try to pull from those experiences, just being because obviously as a kid, you just get frustrated and you kind of want to quit and whatever. But it's it's a good lesson in there for us, though, that I remember with that specific season, we actually pulled things around. We made the regional. We had a good season. And it's just it really is about not, we talked about today before our practice. It's really not about we're gonna win the national championship tomorrow. That's not, we can't be thinking about that. Can't be looking at a ranking, and that we just have to get better in practice today. Figure out what's not working. Figure out what is working, and take it a day at a time, and not quit on each other.
do you set like a goal, like a day at a time? When you get time, PJ Fleck always talks about going 1-0 in whoever, this week is bye week for you. It's Notre Dame. Is there any kind of talk like that?
Yeah, no, we were just talking about how October wasn't our month. Everyone that has the newspaper knows that October wasn't our month, and that's all right. But November's gonna be our month, and we can start gaining momentum every day, every game. So yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot better month.
What youth association was that?
Johnson, Como, North St. Paul.
Wow.
Yeah, conglomerate too, right? Because that was part of our problem. We didn't have people. We didn't have the numbers. Yeah.
And that's that you won state division with?
Yeah, no, we did. We had a good team, bunch of great football players that we after their season would come play for us. It was nice, funny, but yeah, it was inner city team was fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Your coach talked a lot about the penalty kill and about how at times it's been really good, and last weekend you had some struggles there. When you're out there a man down, what needs to change? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I like on a personal standpoint, take accountability for a lot of the issues. I think that. Well, the first thing is getting the penalties, right? I mean, we've been more penalized than we would have liked to have been. Yeah. But the other thing comes down to just getting clears. I know I've struggled with that last weekend. I think we had a couple fundamental things that it wasn't really effort-based. I think our effort's actually been pretty good and our buy-in, but it's rather just like the mental errors. It's the little things. And I really think that starts in practice and that starts every day. And we're getting better. But it's unacceptable, and we definitely know that we need to be better.
Is there any kind of thing to the penalties that are being taken that the coaches are pointing out? Is it body positioning? Is it stick positioning? Is there any kind of commonality there that you've heard?
Yeah, the stick penalties are really getting. We're trying to cut down on them a lot. Because. Those are preventable. We, obviously no penalties. You don't want a penalty ever, but especially the stick penalties, I think we've tried to address as an issue because we can continue just moving our feet, to hopefully prevent those.
Last one, Bob said, when you go to Tampa, there's 11,000 fans that follow you down there and cheer you on. After an October like you had, those 11,000 fans are still there, but you hear different things. Is there any kind of advice to play through that and get through November?
Yeah, I mean, we love our fans, like we really do, and we understand that the standards just gotta be better. So I think it's a little tough love, like at least the way that the guys I've talked to and myself, like I don't think that we're not frustrated with the fans. Like we want to be good, we want you guys to want to come watch us. We're not trying to go out there and be like, oh, I hope they are not having fun at the game, but. We can't really focus on it like that. We're not trying to put on a circus. We're really just trying to win some hockey games here. So, I think the love's going to come back and we're going to have a great November. And, those 11,000 fans are going to be even more happy, than they were in Tampa. That's the story. I'd love to go down that line.
No, it's going to be fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Guys,
this is such uncharted territory for you guys for this program to get swept 2 weekends in a row. How's this week been? I mean, do you have to remind yourself to keep it fun, or guys pretty enthused to get a whole game in the Big Ten here?
Yeah, I feel like just our mentality is just staying positive through all of it. I mean, in my last 2 years here, we've been really good, and we've had a lot of older guys that we've kind of been able to jump on their back. And I feel like we've never really been in this situation here because we have such high standards, and I feel like in our last 2 practices this week, it's just a different feel. We've been getting competitive, and it's staying positive and being happy and actually having fun playing the game. And I feel like we kind of got away from that for a little bit. But I feel like going forward, and especially coming back home now after 2 sweeps, I feel like we would do a different mentality coming into this week.
You knew that October schedule was going to be a bear. Do you throw it away now, or what did you learn about your team from those really tough games?
I feel like obviously Motzko does that schedule for a reason. It gets us ready for the whole season, but I think we put that behind us, forget about it, but learn from it and take some positives out of it. But also we need to learn from those mistakes that cost us some games and little plays and stuff. But I feel like going forward, we kind of just erase that and stay positive and kind of just look ahead of us next game for the next period.
Do you remember the last time you've had a season like in youth or anything where it's started like this that you've had to fight through?
My freshman year at Hill Murray, I mean, we were not the greatest team, but we were on a little bit of a skid near the end of the year, and that kind of transferred into playoffs. But from what I've learned from those different times, it's easy to kind of learn from it, and it's better to have something like that happen early in the season, because going forward, like, those are just a bunch of lessons that we need to learn and build off of, because that stuff can't happen later in the year.
Do you have to remind yourself? I mean, it's only, just past Halloween. There's a lot of runway left.
Yeah, like, that's what we've kind of been talking to our younger guys. Like, well, there's so much hockey left to play, and we need to put that behind us. But we need to learn from it, because that's the type of stuff can't happen in March. And just stay positive through the whole thing, no matter what happens.
Does anything resonate from the coaching staff this week as you kind of turn the page and look at Notre Dame?
Yeah, just digging in more. Like, in our film sessions, they've been a little tough, but obviously they had to be, because we were making plays that shouldn't have been happening, that were costing us, like penalty kill, different types of things, that goals against that shouldn't be happening. I think we've given up 14 goals in the last 4 or 6 games or something, and 7 of them were PK goals. So just little stuff like that, like getting pucks out on the PK, because there's a couple that we could have got out and they stayed in and they scored a couple seconds later. So there's just little details that I feel like we need to focus on and just move forward. But we're learning, and we're young, but I feel like we're getting there.
Clearing the puck is obviously one thing on the PK. I mean, our guys, is there a renewed emphasis maybe in blocking shots and winning those face-offs, so you start with possession, little things like that as well?
Yeah, we dug in today on it a lot near the end of practice. We're just focusing on if a puck shot from the point, our D need to get on the puck and get it out, and if they can't get it out, then eat it or whatever it needs to be done. But just making sure we're not just throwing it back to their D and resetting them, because that's happened a couple times here where they've ended up in the back of our net where it shouldn't have ever happened.
Is there a more frustrating play than when you think you got to clear, all of a sudden it's right back on the court?
Yeah, probably. I mean, maybe like whiffing on a pass or something, but no, that's miserable, especially when you have it on your forehand and you rip it hard, and it's some good player is going to be at the point on a power play and they could keep it in. So, yeah.
Got Big Ten jobs for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's here for a reason.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.